Yeah, last week we were talking about kleshas and obstacles, and specifically the self as an obstacle. And this week I kind of wanted to redirect and kind of balance it back out with some of our observances or practices that we do want to do. So things that actually help to strengthen our practice and strengthen our connection to wholeness and oneness and that state of yoga. So two things we're going to specifically talk about today. One is ahimsā, which is harmlessness or nonviolence. The more positive way to say that would be peacefulness. And then the second one is satya, which is truthfulness, non-lying. So we kind of have the non-this or the pro-that, so non-lying or truthfulness. And these two practices or observances come to us from Yoga Sutra 235 and 36. And let me read to you those sutras because I think there's some wording here that I think is really important for our practice today. So the first one about ahimsā is 35 and then satya is 36. It says, when one is established in nonviolence, hostility is abandoned in their presence. And then 36 is, when one is established in truthfulness, they rest fully in the fruits of their actions. So let's break down what that means just a little bit before we start to move. So this ahimsā is, himsa means to hit or strike, and then when we put an ah in front of a word, it means the opposite, so to not strike. So nonviolence or peace. And I think I want to pay special attention in both cases to the word established. We'll use that through our practice today. And then it says that when one is established in nonviolence, all hostilities in their presence cease. And so this is about not just being so peaceful that you are not violent. This is being so peaceful or so non-confrontational, I suppose, in a way, that no one would dare to bring violence or hostility into a situation where you are involved. So this is about not just establishing it within yourself, but also then transmitting it. Having, maybe you've heard the saying, don't be pulled into somebody else's storm, pull them into your peace. So that's kind of what we're talking about, is being able to be so established in our peace that no violence is even possible in our presence. And then the second part of this is that same establishment, being established in truthfulness, we rest in the fruits of our actions. So what does that mean? I suppose, and I've thought about this a lot, there's a lot of ways you could understand this, but I like that when we speak 100% truth, when we don't embellish or add anything to it, and we don't leave anything out, the actions that flow from that truthfulness, whether it's words, thoughts, or deeds, become sort of the most, the cleanest possible outcome from our truth. So it's kind of a tricky one to understand, but resting in the fruits of your actions means, I've also heard this translated as you begin to speak action into being. You are so truthful or so established in truthfulness that nothing is hidden in your actions, and also nothing is embellished or changed in your actions, that your words, your thoughts, and your deeds all flow seamlessly within one, from one to another. And so this is kind of that being so established in truthfulness that everything that flows from you is neither embellished nor missing anything, or incomplete in some way. So our practice objectives for today are going to be, number one, we're going to work on that establishment. We're going to find strong bases of support in all of our poses, whether seated, standing, or lying on our backs, or what have you. And then the second thing is that we are going to emit. We're going to be so established in our peace and so established in our truthfulness that we begin to emit that peacefulness or emit that truthfulness from within. And then third, we are going to rest in or accept and be at peace with the fruits of our actions. So the actions, normally we think of that as like being active in the world or active with the body or doing something, but this can also be the actions of the mind or the actions of speech as well. So being so established in our peace that our actions, then we can accept them, we have no issues with them because we know they're based in peace and in truth. So we're going to start in Sukhasana, an easy seat. So in your easy seat, let's find first that establishment. Let's get very rooted Let's get very grounded. Let's be kind of almost immovable or unshakable in our rootedness and our establishment. And of course, when we have that strong base of support, we end up with our longer, taller spine. We might have that little lift in the ribs to allow space for breath. And this is sort of our baseline. This is us very established, very rooted. And what we're gonna do, now remember that you're muted. So what we're gonna do is take what's called simhasana, lion pose. And the way this looks is you can just take it seated in your establishment. You can also bring the hands forward and kind of roll up onto the knees. The feet might lift or they might stay on the floor. So we can either take this seated, leaned forward, or leaned forward and rolled up onto the knees. But what this looks like is the tongue sticking out, trying almost as if you were trying to reach the tip of your tongue to your chin. So the tongue is extended and downward facing. And there's a clearing sound from the throat that sounds a bit like a lion roar. It's like, so remember that you're muted and no masks because, you know, it's just us in here. So we'll take, from our established place, we'll take a nice deep breath in. And as we exhale, either staying seated or rolling forward, we're gonna stick out the tongue and find that we're gonna do this 5 times. Where this is us clearing any violence from our system and clearing any untruth from our system. So nice big breath in and lion pose. Come back to your establishment, inhale, lion pose. 2 more. Last round, clear it out. Coming back to our established seat. You can feel maybe even some mucus or material matter that has been cleared from the body. This is anything that obscures the sound of our voice. It obscures our breath. And in the same way, we can see it as obscuring truth or obscuring peacefulness. So back in our established place, we're now going to find a way to, in our establishment, open to truth, open to peace. And the way that we'll do this by our side leaning poses, one side of the body gets more compressed and stacked. And this creates a stronger base of support. It actually offers us a little bit more stability. So with hands on either side of the mat, familiar pose, but just thinking of it in a new way. On an inhale, reach up. On your exhale, lean to one side. Feel the one side of your body get really firm and established, applying a little bit more strength there. And then feel one side of your body get open. So we'll just hold this for just a moment, feeling those 2 things. We're still very rooted and established. Make sure both sitting bones are deeply rooted into the earth. Then come back to your neutral establishment and peace and truth. On an inhale, we'll swing to the other side. Exhale as we lean. Feel that stacking of your bones and ribs on one side and the opening that's happening on the other side. Opening to truth, opening to peace, meanwhile staying established. On an inhale, we'll come back to center. Let's take 2 more on each side, but this time we'll just flow with our breath. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Other side, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. 1 more to each side. Inhale up, exhale, lean. Inhale up, exhale, establish. Inhale up, exhale, lean. Inhale up, exhale, establish. Our 3rd set of poses, and we'll find repetition in these same things, kind of get a feel for what we're doing. We're going to do these same things standing as well. So for our next shape, we're going to extend one leg long. I'm starting with my left leg extended. My right knee is bent, just for reference. And we're going to, with our establishment, both sitting bones rooted, tall through the spine, open through the heart, we're going to turn the body towards the extended toes. so twisting, and the opposite hand is going to come to the outside of the knee. We might also fold a little bit, so opposite hand might come towards the heel or towards the pinky edge of your foot. And just pause. See if you can maintain both that rootedness, so both sitting bones rooted, as well as that long, tall spine, even as you fold or twist or both. On an inhale, come back to your centered, established place. And let's extend the other leg long. Now, we can bend at that other knee, or we can keep both feet wide, up to you, your comfort level. So first, find your establishment, both sitting bones rooted. We're established in truth, we're established in peace. And then twisting, turning the heart toward the extended right foot this time. And left hand can come to the outside of the knee, shin, heel, or pinky toe. Maintain your establishment in your sitting bones and your integrity and your alignment in your spine. So if that means not coming quite as far down towards the right leg, those are the two objectives, that rootedness and that alignment, even as we twist. On an inhale, return back to your neutral establishment. And again, we're gonna move with the breath this time. So both legs can become extended if they're not already. Inhale, establish, exhale, twist, and maybe fold. Inhale back to center. Exhale, we're gonna come back to the other side, twist and fold. Inhale, center, exhale, twist and fold. Inhale, center, exhale, twist and fold. Coming back to our center place. We're gonna move from here into standing. So we can bend, oh, we forgot one more thing, sorry. So you can cross your legs, comfortable seat. We're gonna find cat-cow as well. And the symbolism for our cat and cow is to know the true self, both small s as we look inward and capital S as we look outward, and then know inner peace and know outer peace. So we're gonna establish the relationship between those two things. So root yourself in truth, root yourself in peace. On your exhale, look inside. So cat shape, back body is big. Pause here. Feel where there's sensation in the body. Feel where there's spaciousness in the body, and check in with that establishment in your root center. Come back to neutral on an inhale. Then as you exhale, heart comes forward, chin lifts, shoulders back. Make sure you're still rooted in your sitting bones. And we're kind of gazing outward now. We've seen the peace within, and now we see the peace without. We've seen the truth of who we are, and now we see the truth of who we are reflected everywhere. Now let's move with the breath again. So on an exhale, find that inward facing cat shape. On your exhales, find that outward facing cow shape. See the truth within. See the truth everywhere. See the peace within yourself. See the peace everywhere. Let's do two more. One more for each yama. So inside we see truth. Outside we see truth. Inside we see peace. Outside we see peace. Come back to neutral. Just take a breath again, finding that establishment. Let's memorize this feeling of this rootedness and then come to standing at the top of the mat. So we've been focusing on our establishment through the hips. Now we're going to extend that establishment down all the way to the toes and the heels. So we find our standing, but we are still rooted. We might even have a little bit of strength or kind of intensity in the legs. Maybe we're flexing some of those muscles, but keep the knees soft. So we have our establishment, and now let's find some of those same motions again. So we're going to extend our establishment upward. So arms are just reaching straight above the shoulders. On an exhale, lean to one side. So remember that as our one side compresses, it offers strength and stability, and one side opens to truth, opens to peace. Pausing here. Inhale, center. Exhale, find that same pose on the other side, strengthening through the compressed side and opening through that open side. Let your breath flow smoothly. Inhale back to center. Let's move with the breath. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. Same thing. 2 more times to each side. And relax your hands down. Feel that rootedness. We're going to find our inner and outer peace, inner and outer truth by training ourselves, by becoming so established. So on our inhales, arms will rise, chin and heart will lift. On our exhales, we fold. Chin and heart come towards the knees or the heart. Inhaling up, opening to what's outside. Exhaling down, opening to what's inside. All the while maintaining that establishment through the hips and legs and feet. Let's take one more in each direction. Inhale, open the front body. Exhale, open the back body. Wonderful. From this open back body, let's rise back up to standing. So nice and slow, we roll up to standing. And from here, we're going to take a couple of sort of twisting shapes. Actually, let's save that for the next part. Let's find our lion pose. So we're kind of expelling any violent thoughts or feelings, expelling any untruth or less than truthful thoughts and feelings. So on our inhales, we can either raise the hands or just simply press into the heels and lift the spine. On our exhales, we're going to find that flat back, so a half fold, and lion. So we'll have our tongue out and making our ha sound. So, starting with our standing pose, maybe the arms rise, maybe they don't. On our exhale, half fold, either arms extended or arms supporting, and lion. Inhale, rise. Establish, exhale, expel. 3 more. Coming back to our neutral establishment. So from here, we're going to find our side bending motion. We're going to balance. We're going to find both our forward and back, our truth within, peace outside, truth outside. We're going to find some humility. We're going to go through a whole bunch of wonderful things. So in our standing shape, start to shift your weight, find that establishment, but then shift your establishment just to the left leg. Right foot will hover, knee might come up towards the hip, or you might extend your leg long in front of you. Any of those choices is valid. And from this place, we're going to bring that right knee or leg out to the right side and find tree pose. So right foot will come somewhere on that left leg, root down, push into the floor, find that establishment, and then hands can come either to heart center or rise. And then we're gonna find our trickiness. We're gonna lean. So maybe it's just a half an inch to each side, but lean away from your right knee, back to center, lean toward your right knee, and back to center. Excellent. Hands can come back towards your center of gravity, either heart or hips. We're gonna release the right foot from the left leg and step towards the back of the mat. So as we step back, find your establishment, root in peace, root in truth. On our inhale, arms will rise. On our exhale, we sink into that left knee. So right now we have a neutral spine, no real back bending here. Hands might stay lifted, they might come to hips, but keep that neutral spine, feel that rootedness. On your next inhale, straighten your left leg so we have sort of a pyramid shape in the legs. Find that establishment, and then inhale to lift your chin and your heart. Maybe arms also rise and open. Maybe they stay at hips. Maybe they support at the low back. So we have that truth outside, peace outside. One more big inhale here. Fill up your body. As you exhale, we can either half fold over that left leg, or we can bend into the left knee, bringing hands down to blocks or the floor. Chin will come in towards the chest. So the leg might be straight or bent here, up to you. But find that truth inside, find peace inside. So we're going to mess with our establishment just a little bit. We're going to pull the right heel more towards the center of the mat so that the right toes face the long edge. We're going to push into the left foot to come to standing, straightening both legs now. Inhaling, arms out to shoulder height. Bring the heart open. Reach from fingertip to fingertip. Take a nice big inhale here. And as you exhale, reach the left hand forward. We're going to find triangle pose. So left hand might find the thigh, the shin, a block, or the floor. But get a sense of twisting the heart open to the right side of the mat. Maintaining that establishment through the legs and feet and hips. Maintaining the length and alignment and integrity through the spine. Let's hold for 2 more breaths if we can. And on our exhale, we'll bring both hands down, bending into the left knee to frame the left knee. Step forward with your right foot. Find Uttanasana. Look inside. Be established in truth and peace through the legs and hips. Look inside and see that truth and peace within yourself. And either hinging or rolling to standing, your choice. Once you arrive in standing, lift the heart, lift the gaze, see that truth, see that peace outside. Then come back to neutral establishment. This neutral establishment is what it's like when you're rooted in peace and you're rooted in truth and everything's going great. Now, in this world that we're living in at this moment, we're rooted in peace and we may be rooted in truth, but there's all kinds of non-peace and non-truth happening outside of us. So what we're going to do is try to establish ourselves so well that we begin to transmit that. So let's again shift our weight, our establishment into the right foot. Left foot might just hover. Left knee might rise to hip height, or we might extend that left leg long in front of us. Your choice. And then we'll find left leg or knee coming wide to find our tree pose. Get rooted and established in peace. Be so in it. And then from this place, hands might be at hips or at heart or raised. And then we're going to find our leaning. So lean away from the left knee towards the right. Come back to center. Lean towards the left. Just hovering above that left knee. Good. Come back to center. Whoa. Okay, from here, hands are going to come back to our center of gravity, heart or hips, and we're going to reach that left leg back to step behind us. Find your rootedness. Establish yourself. Both legs are straight. Heart and hips are straight forward. Hands might rise or stay at hips. We're going to exhale into the right knee. So spine is still neutral and straight. We are rooted and established in peace and truth. We'll transition from here back to our stargazer pose. So on an inhale, straighten that right knee. Exhale, kind of establish yourself. Then inhale again, lift the heart and the chin. Hands again might stay where they are. They might rise or they might support behind the back. But we're establishing or looking at that truth and peace out into the world. We're sending it from within outward. In our presence, all hostilities cease, and we can easily rest in the fruits of our actions. Good. Come back to neutral. On your exhale, we can either bend at that right knee or fold into that flat back. So we might support ourselves here. We might bring hands all the way to the floor. But chin is going to come to chest. We're finding that round spine. Looking within, we see that same truth, that same peace reflected. Shift your weight just a little into that right foot so you can turn the left foot, heel towards the center of the mat, toes toward the outer edge, the long edge. Press into the right foot to rise to standing. Both legs are straight now. Open the arms out to shoulder height. Arms are open, heart is open. Gaze over that right hand. Let's find triangle pose. Exhale to reach and turn. So maybe we're supporting ourselves on the leg, the floor, a block. Get that sense of turning the heart open, that twist. Maintain your integrity by alignment within. On an exhale, we're going to bring both hands down to frame the right toes, bending into the right knee. And again, step forward towards the top of your mat. Find Uttanasana, forward fold. Rooted and established through hips and feet, looking inward, back body is open. We see truth within. We see peace within. We are firmly rooted and established in both. Then either hinging or rolling up, we're going to find our neutral standing again. Take a resting breath or two, maybe three. We're going to give ourselves one more balance challenge here. So we have our establishment. We are aligned within. We're going to shift our weight into the left leg. So our rooting and establishing through the left leg. Right foot is again going to hover. Maybe knee comes up towards hip height. Maybe leg is extended, your choice. And from this rootedness, we're going to take our left hand to the outside of the right knee or left hand to the right big toe and shift that right knee towards the left side. Right arm might come out to the right for counterbalance. We have a standing twist. Gaze might shift towards the right thumb. And keep a strong focus. Remain rooted. Remain established. See if you can take 2 or 3 more breaths. Really challenge yourself and see if you can come out gracefully as you untwist and bring both feet back to the floor. Back to our neutral establishment where everything on the inside and everything on the outside is matching. Shift that rootedness, that establishment into the right leg. Again, same thing. Left foot might hover. Left knee might rise to hip height. We might extend the left leg. Find your balance first. Then right hand will come to the outside of the left knee or to the left toes. Left arm might come out wide to counterbalance, and we're going to shift that left knee over to the right side. Perhaps the gaze shifts towards the left thumb. It's harder when you're only half rooted or half established and the world around you is spinning. To maintain your integrity, that alignment, maintaining your rootedness. Just acknowledge the challenge of that for another breath or 2, maybe 3, if you're feeling especially rooted today. And then as gracefully as you can, start to untwist the body and bring yourself back into that neutral establishment. Take a resting breath or 2. Then we're going to start to find some of these similar poses, but seated. So from our standing shape at the top of the mat, let's inhale and look upward. Maybe hands also rise. They can also support at the low back. But feel the establishment of truth and peace in your legs and feet. See it reflected in your outer world. Take a couple of breaths. On an exhale, transition to that inward gazing. So we're established still in legs and hips, chin to chest, back body open.
Bend at the knees so that you can plant your hands, and we're going to step back to downward facing dog, our first down dog of our practice. So find here establishment in truth and peace in both hands and the feet. Find that long alignment. See if you can find a neutral spine here, except for the neck where chin drops in towards the chest. So we're looking inward. That we have our natural alignment, we have our establishment and truth and peace. Next, exhale, let your knees drop down to the mat for tabletop shape. And from here, we'll find some of those same poses that we've been finding in all of our other standing, seated, etc. So we have our neutral spine. Make sure it's nice and flat, as if your back was pressed flat against the ceiling. Back of your head, shoulders, and sacrum would all be in alignment here. As we take a nice big inhale, and then exhale, hips come back towards the heels, lion pose. Inhale, neutral table. Exhale, lion. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, lion. 2 more. Back into neutral table. We did our side bending poses, seated and standing. Let's find them here. So on an inhale, take a nice big breath in. On your exhale, walk both hands to left or right. You can choose either one, we'll do both. And just pause. Feel how the compressed side of the body is actually really strong. It's not very movable because everything's stacked together. It's that well-establishedness. And that lends itself to the open side. Those two things are connected, the establishment and the openness. And this can mimic the idea that the more rooted and established, the stronger we are with peace and truth within. The more open we are to transmitting it, the more open we are to seeing that truth and peace outside. One more breath in, and as you exhale, come back to neutral table, flat back. Find your establishment. One more big inhale. Walk your hands to the other side, that lateral movement. Feel the tight side of the body lending strength. Feel the open side of your body transmitting your peace and your truth outward. Opening to peace and truth that we might just happen to find out in the world. Be open to seeking it. Two more breaths, and on that second exhale, walk yourself back to neutral. Long flat back, our integrity established here in hands and knees. We're going to extend the right foot back behind us, toes are on the mat. We're going to drop the right heel towards the center of the mat. Maybe the left foot comes out a little wider to the left, and then established in the left hand and left knee, twist open to the right. You have a little side angle shape. Maintain your establishment through left hand and left knee. Maintain your alignment through the spine. And open your heart, transmitting truth and peace outward, receiving the truth and peace of the world to strengthen your own. Feel that relationship between inner and outer. One more big inhale to receive. As you exhale, come back to neutral table, establishing in truth and peace. Let's find that same motion on the other side. So left foot reaches back, toes are underneath the body. Drop your left heel towards the center of the mat. Right foot might come out a little wider. Established in right hand and right knee, twist open, heart open to truth, heart open to peace. Both receiving from the outside world so that we're actively seeking truth and peace, and transmitting that established truth and peace from within ourselves outward. Feel the inhale and the exhale as that receiving and transmitting. 2 more breaths on your second exhale. We'll come back to our neutral table again. Let's take 3 more of these lion poses just to clear anything out of our system that doesn't belong. Neutral spine. Big inhale, exhale, hips toward heels, lion breath. 2 more. Come back to neutral. Let's send the knees out to one side so we can bring the sitting bones to the floor. We'll come into our seated pose. So we had some practice in keeping our alignment and maintaining our establishment, our rootedness. When we were standing, we did that when we were seated, when we were twisting, etc. We're gonna try to do that again. So first, with the feet kind of in front of you, soles of the feet on the floor, first establish yourself through the sitting bones. Get rooted there. And then find your alignment, that inner integrity from root to crown. And basically what we're gonna do is lean back to find a boat pose. There's lots of variations we can take on this. The main idea is to stay established through the sitting bones and aligned through the spine. So whether that means you just lean back a tiny bit and the heels pop off the floor, or the heels come like level to the knees, or maybe we even find that extended boat pose in this way. Whichever variation works for you, make sure that you're established and rooted and aligned to your integrity. Take 1 more breath in. Exhale, release yourself to neutral. So ideally, your spine doesn't change or move at all between boat and feet on the floor. Let's do 2 more like that. Come in and out for as long a duration as feels good to you. So, big inhale here, we're rooted, we're established, we're aligned. We find boat. So even when the waters are rocky, ideally we still have our same establishment, our same integrity. On an exhale, come back to boat on the shore, a little bit more established, a little more rooted, a little easier to maintain your integrity. Let's do 1 more. Let's imagine we get into some rocky waters. Lean back, maintain your integrity, maintain your rootedness in peace, rootedness in truth. No matter what happens to the ocean or the water that we're on, we maintain our integrity and structure. Exhale, release your boat pose, long neutral spine. Let's take a couple of cat-cows here before we find our way down to supine. So from our neutral aligned spine, let's exhale and chin to chest, back body gets large. We're looking inside. We're still rooted. We feel truth and peace within us. On an exhale, transition outward. Heart is lifted, gaze is lifted, shoulders are back. We see that same truth and peace in the world. We transmit it and we receive it. Let's take 2 more in each direction, this time flowing with our breath. Exhale, look inside. Next, exhale, shift outward. Inhale here. Exhale, look inside. Inhale here. Exhale, look outside. Inhale here. Let's do 2 more like that. Exhale, look inside and inhale. Exhale, look outside and inhale. Exhale, look within. Inhale. Exhale, shine it out. Inhale. Coming back to neutral spine. Let's find our way down to lying on the back. So you can either roll slowly, you can support yourself as you come down, or you can reach forward. But find yourself established again. So sitting bones are going to be not as close to the ground, but sacrum is now our new establishment point. Shoulders and back of the heart, back of the head are all resting on the floor. our integrity intact as we lie on the back. And this is what it is to rest in the fruits of your actions. This is what it is for all hostilities to cease. You know how animals, when they trust you, when they know that you're not going to hurt them, they show you their belly. And that's what we're doing now. We're sort of showing our belly, knowing that we are not vulnerable to attack because we're so rooted in truth. We're so rooted in peace. So we have that rootedness, we have our integrity, we have our alignment. Let's find a couple of those same postures before we find our way into our resting pose for the day. So legs can extend long, or you can keep the knees bent if you like. We're gonna reach the arms up and overhead. Hands are just resting on the floor. And we're gonna find a moon bend in each direction. So hips staying in their established place. Sacrum is anchored to the floor. Shoulders and head are gonna walk off to one side. Ideally, our shoulders are still flat against the floor. And maybe both legs kind of shift in that same direction. I'm heading to the left right now. So head, shoulders, arms, legs and feet off to the left. Sacrum is rooted and established, immovable in its truth, immovable in its truthfulness and in its peace. That unshakable peace. Feel the sturdy side that's compressed and the open side. On an inhale, come back to establishment in the center. Feel where your sacrum is anchored and let it be immovable in its truth, immovably established in peace. Then walk your hands, head, and arms, maybe legs also join. Now to the other side of the mat. Feel the compressed side lending strength and the open side open to transmitting that peace and truth and receiving that reflection of peace and truth from the world. Let your breath be smooth and easy here. See if you can let go of any tension to really allow yourself to rest in the fruits of your actions, your truthful actions, your peaceful actions. And again, on an inhale, come back to your centered and established place. Anchored through the sacrum, back of the heart, and back of the head. Arms can relax down by your sides now if you like. Just take a couple of breaths, effortlessly resting in the fruits of your actions. We have one more pair of postures to take before we find our resting pose for the day. So knees are going to bend again if they're not already. Soles of the feet are on the floor. Find that rootedness and establishment through back of the head, both shoulders rooted into the mat, sacrum rooted into the mat. Arms might come out a little closer to shoulder height with arms straight or bent at the elbows, up to you. And from this place, we're going to twist in each direction again. So knees are going to come a little closer towards the chest. Stay anchored through your sacrum here. No lifting of the sacrum off the mat. And shift your knees to one side. Maybe we come to the floor. Maybe we just balance on one side of the sacrum. But we're anchoring through the shoulders now. Anchoring through the back of the head. On an exhale, come back to center. Find that establishment, rooted through shoulders and the back of the head, rooted through the sacrum in this moment. And when we are so rooted, our heart stays rooted and our mind stays rooted in peace and truthfulness. So with that in mind, on an exhale, start to shift your knees to the other side of your mat. Maybe we're balancing on one hip, maybe knees are on the floor. But staying rooted through the heart area and the shoulders and rooted through the head, the mind. Take a few more breaths. See if you can rest in this establishment, allowing you to rest in whatever actions flow from them. On an exhale, when you're ready to come out, come back to center. And relax your feet back down to the floor. Just take a few breaths. And that effortless alignment, effortless rootedness, establishment. After a while, when we're so truthful and so peaceful, it's effortless because it's just our natural state of being. We become what we practice. So if we practice confidence, we become more truthfully confident. When we practice truthfulness, when we practice peace, we become more established and rooted in it through practice, and it becomes our natural way of being. Notice if your body needs any other movements, maybe a happy baby, maybe a short bridge pose, a forward and back cat-cow kind of stretch. Just notice if there's anything else that your body is asking for. And then from whatever actions you take there,
start to work your way into some kind of shavasana. Now that could be legs up the wall, that could have the soles of the feet on the floor, knees teepeed together. But what we want to feel is that establishment through the sacrum, establishment echoed in the heart center through the shoulders, and establishment of that peace and truth in the mind as the back of the head rests on the mat as well. After all of these actions, rooted in truth, rooted in peacefulness, we should now be able to easily and effortlessly let go, resting in the fruits of our actions, knowing that whatever consequences come are a consequence of truth, a consequence of peace. This is also a time for self-reflection. We can notice where we feel very sure and established in peace and very sure and established in truthfulness, and what areas might still feel cloudy or questionable to us. Knowing that this is practice and that we don't have to get it perfect in this moment, but our awareness will lead us to that truthfulness. Feel your breath relaxing, letting go of effort. Feel your body getting heavy and rooted. Feel your heart gently opening to both transmit and receive truth and peace. Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma amritam gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Feel the unshakable establishment and peace from the stillness of the body. Feel the unshakable establishment in truth from the effortless alignment of the body. Feel the effortless actions of the body through the heartbeat and the breath, the sensations being received and transmitted by the mind. And from this integrity of alignment, from this establishment in truth and peace through the hips, the back of the heart, and the back of the head or the mind, begin to allow a flow of action into the fingertips and the toes. Maybe the perspective shifts as the head softly turns. Maintain that anchored establishment, maintain that integrity and alignment of the spine as the arms and legs now also find some action. Simply rest in the fruits or the consequences of those actions, knowing you're established, knowing you are aligned. Find some way to embody an outward transmission. Maybe your heart just lifts a little off the mat. Maybe you stretch the arms and legs long or wide to send that established peace and truth from within yourself outward, becoming that transmitter, being so rooted, so established that we send it out and overflow with truth and peace. And after a few breaths of that outward experience, find some way to embody an inward experience. Maybe the chin kind of lifts up towards the chest. Maybe instead the knees come in towards the chest. Maybe we find that little cannonball shape. Being so inwardly established in our peace and in our truth. And then from that inward facing glance, turn to your side and find that resting in the fruits of your actions. Rest on your side, release all effort. Become anchored in the side of your body that's pressed into the floor. Stay open to transmit and receive peace and truth from the upper side of your shoulder and hip. And when the time feels right, start to slowly work your way back to that established seat. As you rise, root down. Become established, become grounded, become consistent, rooted in peace, rooted in truth. Ahimsā, satya. Now that we're rooted, we find our alignment of the actions of the heart, actions of the mind. So we have that long, tall spine in alignment. In one hand, we hold personal, individual self. In one hand, we hold universal or cosmic self. And by extension, in one hand, we hold our inner peace, our inner truth. And in the other hand, we hold the wholeness of truth and the wholeness of peace. Just allow the palms to come together, just lightly and effortlessly connecting. And then pull that into your heart center. Maybe the chin also bows to gaze inward at this union. As we become rooted and established, as we align our thoughts, words, and deeds with this peacefulness, with this ahimsā, with this truthfulness, this satya, we become that transmitter and offer our peace and truth to all others, either by example or by holding space for them to discover their own peace and their own truth. Therefore, our practice is an act of service to self and all others as one being. Lokha samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy, healthy, safe, and free. Namaste.